all right, so first off, we'll cover as we move through the show the retirement of Fletcher Cox. He obviously deserves a lot of tributes, and we will provide that as we move through the show. No question, one of the all-time great Eagles. Obviously, if you want to call in and pay tribute to Fletcher, we're all ears, and we will certainly speak on that at 215-592-9494. Congrats to him on a great career. We'll detail that a lot more as we move further. But, John, so Hassan Reddick's, been on the trade block, sounds like for a couple weeks. Eagles have given him permission. Now we're hearing Josh Sweat, very similar situation, younger age. This one kind of came out of nowhere. So I asked this question to you, and I'm kind of scratching my head here. What is going on?
Yeah.
What is the purpose?
Retooling? Is this – we just lost a stud, leader of all leaders, future Hall of Famer, both sides of the ball type guy in our center, in Fletcher Cox. This is so unprecedented. Just like last year we lost both coordinators, offensive and defensive, both sides of the ball. We did sort of gloss over that as fans and dismiss it a lot more than we should have. This is Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox no longer in that locker room, no longer sitting in front of that locker every day as just a pillar of Eagles greatness. Not easy to replace. They're going to have to mix things up. They're going to have to change things. I've been saying and hoping all along that they will depart from the stuck in the mud, Joe DeCamera, hey, let's not do anything different ever approach. I really do. I'm making fun a little bit there, Joe, but I swear that it's time to go and look at good linebackers, good safeties, good running backs, and value them a little more than what we have in the past. So, right now, we've got the money to do so and the players who are available and out there. So I love the way this shapes up for our team.
Well, so there's so much going through my mind. I mean, obviously there's positions of need. John, there's philosophy. John touching there on philosophically, the right way to build it up. There's obviously what particular players do you want? And then, of course, we know, free agency is really one of the two main vehicles, because then next month is the NFL draft. And, you have two different cracks at it, two different types. One is generally with older veterans. It doesn't mean they're old, but, normally 4 or 5 years in their career or more. And then the other is, of course, the rookies. So you get different value from different guys and different things of what they can give you right out of the gate. Here's the thing I'm trying to figure out first and foremost. And again, all this on the table with you, 215-592-9494. And I honestly don't know the answer to this question. Are they going for it in 2024? Are they even trying to retool this thing to, Seltzer, is Howie Roseman trying to crank this up to win the Super Bowl or to get a bunch of draft picks?
It's a great question.
Because I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either. I would guess they're going for it, but I don't know. I really don't. I could see them going either way.
You can kind of split the difference a little
bit, but it's hard to normally win the Super Bowl. Let me put it this way. If they trade Reddick and Sweat for draft picks, that tells me that with Kelce gone and Brandon Graham gone and
Brandon's here.
No, hold on. I disagree with
Fletcher
you.
Cox. Go ahead, John.
I disagree. Not if they replace Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. If Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick are traded and we stand pat with the edge guys that we've got, then things get ugly for me. Then I'm wondering, hey, what's the deal?
Yeah.
If we go out and buy a new shiny edge rusher coming off this edge and the other, then that changes the way I perceive all of it.
Well, I agree with you. It would change. I mean, I'm confused by that. I'll tell you what I'm also confused by. Very, very confused by. And I can't quite figure out the breadcrumbs here. The reports that came out, and they were all over the place this weekend, about the Eagles' dissatisfaction with Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick down the stretch this year. What was the point of that becoming public? What was the point? Are they so afraid? Are the Eagles so? First off, we don't know that information comes from the Eagles, but it seems like it probably would. So are they so dissatisfied with those guys and feel like they're definitely going to trade them, and they got to soften the ground for a fan base to know, hey guys, just so you know, in 3 or 4 or 5 days we're going to trade these dudes. So we just want to make sure you understand beforehand why we're doing it, but we'll devalue them in the process. Seltzer, what was the point? I mean, theoretically, it could have come from Josh Sweat's agent, but I don't think it would have, because why would Josh Sweat's agent say to all the area reporters, hey, area reporters, just so you know, the Eagles are dissatisfied with my guy this year?
Yeah, usually you can kind of tell who's putting what out and for what reason.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm with you. It decreases the Eagles' leverage and it makes Sweat look bad. It makes no sense.
And that's why I wake up confused. Like, the whole weekend to me was confusing. And look, we'll see where you stand at 215-592-9494. And that's why, John, I'm trying to figure out what the purpose even is. Like, I'm not saying I know. I don't know. Here's what I do know, though, on this one point. If I'm about to trade Josh Sweat, the last thing I want to do is devalue him before I'm about to trade him. And what just got put out there into the world to the other 31 general managers is the Eagles were dissatisfied with him this past year. Oh, and by the way, they're dissatisfied with Reddick down the stretch also. Oh, thanks. Great. So I'm confused today. I'm really confused on a lot of fronts. Now,
I'm confused by it too.
Yeah.
And look, Howie is working at another level, quite possibly. I don't know.
Possibly.
From my outside perspective, outside the walls of the NovaCare perspective, I look at positions that have traditionally been avoided or skirted around by this Eagles organization in safety, linebacker, and running back that are all very available this free agency period, with a glut of guys who have had traditional success in this league out there and available, so much so that they will probably be cheaper than what they should be. This is a buyer's market. Like, we should be really excited that there are guys out there and available for purchase while we have more money than we expected to have.
Well, I am excited about that.
All you got to do is buy them.
So who do you want, John? Who do you want?
I like the idea. Well, safety, we could get multiple safeties. Just like we just talked about, we could get multiple edge guys. If you trade 2 edge guys away, you could potentially bring in 2 new edge guys. The safeties who are out there, Xavier McKinney, he's going to get $10 million a year. CJ is probably going to get $5 or $6 million a year. For my money, I'll go CJ, even though Xavier McKinney's awesome. Like I said, you could go him too.
Yep.
It's not, you don't have to limit yourself necessarily. Justin Simmons, he played for Fangio, had his best years under Fangio. It just makes so much sense for this team to take a look there. And I like that. Like I said, we could buy multiple safeties who could amplify cornerback coverage ability in zone. That's going to be big.
Well, there's so much they need to improve on, and most of it is defense. I mean, let's be real, John. It's no surprise that I think all of what you just said was defensive related. Look, we'll see where everyone stands at 215-592-9494. I mean, a series of questions. Who do you want? Who do you not want? What positions do you want? And again, when we talk positions at this time of the year, we got to put out the caveat. It's not just through free agency you can acquire the positions. I mean, you have the draft also. Like, I'll tell you this. I want cornerbacks. And I want Bradberry off the team. I know there's a cap hit to get rid of him.
Massive cap
I get it. I know there's a cap hit. Like, I want that guy off the team. And if they're not going to do that, then I need them to commit to not playing him. Now, if they want to just deactivate James Bradberry for 17 games, then I guess they can do so. That feels very weird to me. I mean, I know this. I thought down the stretch last year he was horrible.
What if he can do better if they ask him to do different things?
I just don't look. I saw his. I hate using the word effort, John. I hate using the word effort.
It was an effort.
But in the playoff game, I thought it was the single worst game I've ever seen an Eagles player play in a playoff game. I'm serious about that. I mean, he was getting torched, and then when a guy would catch the ball in his area, he would just completely not tackle the guy. So, like, let's have that guy back? Like, why are we having conversations about Reddick and Sweat being gone, and we're not having conversations about Bradberry gone? Why am I supposed to just eat it as an Eagles fan that apparently he's back?
Because the GM told us he's back. I guess that's
why. He didn't tell us that.
Because they lose cap space. It's not even just it's a dead cap hit. Like, they actually will have less money to spend if they get rid of Bradberry.
Well, I'm curious on the Bradberry front. And, James, clearly that's a factor. I appreciate you saying that. Look, we'll see where you stand at 215-592-9494. You guys know where I was when the season ended. and I kind of think everyone else was here at that same time, but maybe some people have changed their minds. When I watched him play that playoff game, my thinking was, this guy's got to go in such a dramatic fashion, not since Jalen Reagor, like 2 years ago, I think it was, has a guy, like, has to get off the team, has to go. Like, I can't deal with having this guy back. I can't do it. Now, maybe they're going to do it, but I'm confused on that front. I'm confused, going back to the Sweat and Reddick situation. I mean, here's something John McMullen reported over the weekend. He said multiple team sources told SI.com's Eagles today that the organization was disappointed with how the defensive front played during the defensive collapse last season, particularly regarding discipline and what was being asked. Like, why is that out there? Like, free agency starts today. So why? What's the point? What's the point of putting that? I don't. The whole thing confuses me. Look, we'll see where you stand at 215-592-9494. I'm not trying to ring the alarm of massive concern. I'm not saying I have that. I'll tell you what I do have. A lot of confusion. I have a lot of confusion. And I wonder, are they taking a step back? Are they not? Are they going to get the Jets defensive player and, Huff and then get all these free agents and then away they go with a pivot to trying to, let's go take down the 49ers and regain the NFC? Like, maybe. Or maybe this is a transition year more than we expected when the season ends. Maybe.
We have a $250 million quarterback who is waiting in the wings with a new offensive coordinator teaching him how to avoid the pitfalls of last season.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch how that looks. There's no way. Look, with our quarterback, with this guy, did I say $250 million?
$250 million.
$250 million.
I know.
That he can play stride for stride with Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. You better believe we can tool this thing. Yeah. You better believe we can tool this thing to win now. I believe we can tool this thing to win.
You know what's also in my mind, John? Howard Eskin telling us about 2 or 3 weeks ago that if and I'm paraphrasing here, that if Hurts doesn't play better or a lot better, like, they could show him the door after 2024. Now that seems hasty to me because the cap hit next year would be enormous, but Howard often has a window into their thinking. So is it that bad?
There's a new standard in the NFL where people, and maybe it started with us, where we said $34 million in dead cap. Okay, you know what? We can handle it. And we did. And now this year, the new all-time record, it's $85 million now.
I know. I guess here's what I'm saying. And again, you can weigh in at 215-592-9494. I'm confused. I'm not as excited as I normally would be. I mean, I think, John, that probably goes for most people. Like, I'm certainly not as excited as I normally am at the start of free agency. But look, we'll see where everyone stands, who you want, what you want, who you don't want. Do you want Bradberry gone? What do you make of the whole thing? Sweat and Reddick. What do you make of the organization putting some information out there? It seems that it comes from the organization that I would think devalues these guys. What do you make of the whole thing? 215-592-9494. Just off and rolling. Joe DeCamera, John Ritchie. It's 94 WIP.